How we doing, traders? Sorry for being a little bit late there. Got lost looking at the market. Wouldn't you know it? I'm surprised at this recent run, but who knows? Maybe they're trying to front run Jackson Hole. We'll see what happens. Let's take a look into it. Welcome to At the Close. Let's go ahead and dive on in.
All right, it is time for pre-market prep at the close.
Three consecutive highs, opened, matched yesterday's low, and then once it took out there, that's all the breakout momentum traders needed.
All right, traders, let's go ahead. Let's take a look at this market and see what is going on out there. Looks like we're going on up towards the close here, and I don't know why. I mean, it just seems interesting to me. I mean, I can see, tech definitely leading the rally up, but why tech's up? Who knows? Who knows? I mean, maybe you guys can talk some sense into me. This is normally when I would have Joel Elconin speak some sense into me, saying that I was too bearish or something or some kind of news out there. But I don't have Joel today. So I got to go ahead and just say I have no idea why we are going up from here or why Nvidia even came back today. But let's go ahead. Let's dive into today's action. Let's talk about, there was a lot of Fed talk from Bullard. He was speaking, and this came in at around 2 o'clock. So it's kind of weird to see that we've stayed up since these comments. And these were given, of course. Fed Bullard said that after the pandemic, we set out a path on asset buying that was overboard, and says that now they have to switch back. Says the Fed has to get inflation back to 2%. Said that my baseline is that inflation will be more persistent than what many expect. Says inflation will be higher for longer, saying markets are showing outstanding confidence in the Fed. Hope they are right. Fed Bullard also said that rates aren't high enough and says that they need to get to a policy rate where it pushes downward pressure on inflation. Says that after rates get above 3.75 and 4%, then we'll start to question about what's next. But for right now, that's where he sees it. He sees that federal fund rate getting towards that 3.75, 4%. A lot of kind of talk on 75 basis points. Now what we'll do is kind of keep on watch to see what happens tomorrow. What does Fed Chair Jerome Powell have to say about this? What does he think about inflation? And of course, don't miss it. The PCE tomorrow, right? Very important data note to note. That's going to be tomorrow. We'll need to go ahead and catch it. All right, let's go ahead. Let's talk about today's action. I don't think you guys stress too much about Amazon Care. Let's talk about Tesla. How did Tesla do? Did it kind of get back up there? No, it's still trading down here. This is surprising. If you would have told me before the market opened that the market would be up and Tesla would be down here on the stock split, I probably would have told you, man, you sound a little bit crazy. You all right there? But hey, look, that's exactly what's happening. The Tesla coming on down here, it came down about almost 3%. And yet, we're still getting a lot of this leadership that's in the green today. Kind of interesting to kind of catch that. You guys can see it here from the leadership. I'll take a look here at some of our leaders. Always just do it by market cap to make it easy. Apple, you can see up today. Microsoft up today and closing well. Google closing well, pushing upward. Amazon pushing upward. Tesla down there, but that's probably the only one in the red there from the leadership. And really getting an overall rally here. It just seems like it's just pushing on up. I mean, oil is pushing on up. Did I expect to see this? Definitely not. So these are one of those days where I'm definitely in loss of words. So I'm just going to go ahead and just kind of show you what I see out there. If you guys got a stock to talk about, definitely throw it on up. I have no problem getting into these. But it was surprising to see Tesla down, yet a whole bunch of these stocks up. I know I talked about it on Stock Market Movers, but we did see China stocks up today. PDD was up significantly. BABA was up a pretty good amount there, trying to hold there. JD given a good day there. And why was this moving? A lot of this talk from the New York Journal, U.S. and China are nearing an agreement that would allow American accounting regulators to travel to Hong Kong to inspect the audit records of Chinese companies listed on the New York Stock Exchange. Will this actually go through? That's really the question. And will it, because if for any reason the news isn't going through, I think this is just kind of a gift that you're getting into, but we'll see what happens. I know I can't trade China stocks here, especially with the potential rug pull. I just can't do it. I won't. Plug Power is another one that got a lot of spike right before, we were getting off. This news line hit. Plug Power stock surging with Amazon as they struck a deal for the fuel cell maker to make some of its to fuel some of its operation with, of course, green hydrogen. I was talking about at the close that, or at Stock Market Movers, that I was going to look for this to come back on up towards the close here. And that's exactly what it's doing. Now we'll keep watch for a day 2 move tomorrow. Amazon said that Plug would supply 10,950 tons of green hydrogen per year for its transportation and building operations starting in 2025. Amazon expects Plug to provide enough green hydrogen to power 30,000 forklifts and 800 long-haul trucks. As a part of this deal, Plug said that it granted a warrant to buy up to 16 million shares at an exercise price of $22.98 for the first 9 million shares. We'll see what happens there in Plug. Can it keep running? It did make some other stocks run, of course, that are attached to fuel cell and hydrogen plays. F-Cell getting some lift today. We'll see what happens with these. I think it's definitely something to keep on watch. We've been seeing the charge point kind of get some lift here. EVgo getting some lift. Also Blink that I interviewed yesterday getting lift. So we'll see what happens with these stocks. They are trying to hold on up. There was some Twitter news out there, and you can see Twitter actually spiking right now. And I don't know if this is the headline that I caught. I didn't expect to see Twitter that high up. I did expect to see it up, but let me just make sure that this is exactly what I'm getting here. Oh, no, we just got another headline to hit the tape. This is why you have to have Benzinga Pro, of course. Look at this. All I do is I bring up my Benzinga Pro here. Then we got Twitter. We look down, 334. What do you get? There's the headline that's moving the stock right now. Reuters reporting Delaware judge orders Twitter to turn over data of 9,000 accounts reviewed by Twitter in Q4 audit. Judge rejects many of Musk's data demands directed at Twitter, calling them absurdly broad. There you guys see it. A battle is on. Of course, this is all with the Elon Musk and Twitter saga. It just seems like this never goes to end. I'm already tired of talking about it, but hey, Twitter is definitely going to be one that's focused on Elon. I also saw Twitter put out, of course, this doesn't even matter anymore, but they did announce on Thursday that they were launching a podcast feature on its website and app. So users will be able to listen to their favorite podcast on the Twitter app, but definitely getting some lift with that Delaware mention of 9,000 accounts and pretty much battling back on Elon. Why is it coming up? Because probably Elon has to take it private, from all the way up there, and it's trying to make its way back up towards the 50s. We'll see what happens now. Can it fill some of this gap? This is the gap that you can look for a play tomorrow. We'll see what happens there. Will it get up there back towards 43 on Twitter? All right, catching up with the chat. What's going on out there, guys? Friday will be interesting. A lot going on. Tesla's a car company. That's it. Well, it's a tech company, whatever you want to call it. It could be a car company. They consider it an auto manufacturer. That's what they do. All right, let's go. I want to travel to China. Well, Daniel, you could be the only one. I probably wouldn't be traveling to China right now. But hey, power to you, Daniel. Let's keep going. Let's go into some other stocks and what was moving up today. It was a lot of the tech names, right? Let's go to the tech names and see what led us back up here. So look at this 3.5% in Nvidia coming all the way back from a loss this morning. In the after hours yesterday, it came down almost 6%. Now from that point, it's up 9%. Can anybody please explain to me why Nvidia is bouncing today? I just don't understand it. I mean, at least from what we got in the report, it was pretty bad. I mean, the gross margins is dropping. The outlook of gaming segment revenue declining 33% year over year, guiding down their third quarter revenue about 15% off expectations. Then, if you take a look at it, they're trading at 80 times Q2 earnings at 50 cents EPS. It doesn't make sense. It could be because Kathy sold. That's a good sign there, Lone. It could be that, Kathy sold out. Well, the omen's gone. So let's go ahead. Let's get Nvidia here. Well, I'll tell you one thing. That if you guys would have told me that Nvidia was doing this move today, I would have been like, well, I mean, it's kind of illogical, but that's what this market likes to do. If it's a miss and a miss, at least in this market, negative and a negative, right? Doesn't that mean a positive? Or was that only for polarization? Well, I don't know. Hey, it seems like it's working. Negative and a negative means a positive. Come on, Mitch. You should have known that. Honestly, I don't know what's going on here with Nvidia, but hey, it definitely held on up and it drove all the tech names to get the bounce. It wasn't only kind of Nvidia here. You guys can see here. I'm going to run through the semiconductors here, but look at these moves that we got. TSM up 1.2%. Nvidia, AVGO ripping up there. TXN, QCOM getting some lift. AMD, Intel, even Intel. When the dog goes barking, the dogs go barking. Even Intel was making some lift today. Honestly, it's just amazing to see even Micron up today. A lot of these chip stocks just took off. And I mean, I just have no explanation on this. This is why it's a little bit hard, right? I mean, the stories, the fundamentals point to the downside. The technicals point to the downside. The story points to the downside. Can someone tell me what I'm not getting here? Because it's definitely a little bit confusing. All right, we'll see what happens. I mean, I don't think I'll get some sense talked into me probably until Dennis talks some sense into me tomorrow, but might just have to give him a call. We'll see what happened. Also, basic materials going on up. We talked about this in pre-market, though. We were going to take a look to see what happened with some of these commodities and would we start getting a nice pushback on up. So you could take a look today. Steel really getting a lift. This is one of the trades that I missed today and a little frustrated because I talked about this on live trading before I took the trade. I was going to look at steel a lot on the Cleveland Cliff report. Look at Cleveland Cliff and how much it's up today. This is exactly why I want to catch this. Cleveland Cliff was moving higher after the company announced that it was increasing market base price of all carbon steel, hot rolled, cold rolled, coated steel products by a minimum of $75 per ton. And this was effective immediately for new orders in America. And you can see it caused a bunch of these steel stocks to take a lift there. You can see Cleveland Cliff. The one that I wanted to get was this Nucor. And look at that takeoff, man. This is a big lift here on these steel stocks today. Also, you could take a look at U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel getting a nice lift. STLD, another one getting a nice lift. Hey, it wasn't a bad day. One that I probably made money on that not that many people made money on was this reversal back to the mean on SOX S that eventually came down below the low of the day, but somehow I was able to make a profit today on that trade. Let's keep going. Pretty charts out there. I mean, I'm more than confused on what's going on out here today, guys. This is one of those days that I just say, all right, wrap it up. We'll see what happens tomorrow. Maybe it makes sense tomorrow, and that's how it is. All right, let's go ahead. A mood of doom and gloom looms over the market as we head into the PCE. We'll see what happens if this market gets powed tomorrow. We'll see. All right, let's go to it. Let's take a look at what else is moving out there. What is moving down? Well, essentially nothing. Nothing from the open moving down. Even energy coming back here today. XOM starting to close back towards that 99. Doesn't look bad there. Chevron, the weakest one I think was Oxy, but that had made a huge run up, right? And so a little sidestep on Oxy. Not a bad thing to see there. We'll see what happens in oil names. UNG, did we get a little bit of a bounce back in some natural gas today? Small bounce back, nothing big, pretty much sideways action. We were watching kind of the UUUU in some of these uranium stocks. They are getting some kind of lift. This BHP is getting some lift. Rio is getting some lift. So some metals and minerals still taking a nice lift. LAC, not the worst day today. LTHM looks a little bit better. PLL looks a little bit better for those lithium plays. We're also watching agricultural inputs. Talked about this yesterday. MOS, CF, having a good time right now. We'll keep eye on these stocks. There's a lot going on, guys. We'll take a look from stocks that you guys want to mention now. We got about 10 minutes left, so let's just do stocks that you guys want to take a look at. Throw it up in the chat, and I'll make sure that we cover it. Disney being talked about. Tesla, I've already kind of talked about Tesla. It's just still down. I don't know what's going to happen with Tesla. It's kind of interesting to see Tesla down, but the market still up right now. Disney getting some lift here. We'll see what happens on Disney. Can it get through that 118? This was actually a decent kind of pullback. I was looking for it to fill the whole gap, so I'd still be looking for a gap fill if I wanted to play this. But if it gets back above 118s, that's your outlook for it to come back towards that 124. We'll see what happened there. All right, let's keep going with stocks like that. This action makes me think somebody knows that Powell is going to be dovish tomorrow and is front running this. Seems like a CPI leak, but more like a commentary leak. Who knows, Eric? Honestly, in my eyes, when you see comments like you got from Bullard, which is the only thing that I can go off of, which is, of course, a hawkish Fed. But speaking about inflation in the sense that he sees it sticky, he sees us focusing more on getting inflation down. Well, I mean, honestly, it just seems like the market is riding that hopium, and I just hope the hopium can last. That's the only thing that I could think is maybe the hopium lasts and we just keep climbing the wall of worry. And even though that there's this big headwinds on out there, maybe the market doesn't care. That's at least what we're seeing right now. All right, let's keep going. Zim. Shipper stock, not doing much lately. I've been watching this stock to see if it was going to move. It looks bearish to me. Looks like there's some resistance here, like it wants to crack right back down. And it really all is going to be dependent on how does this hold, right? And so when you cracked here, you started using it as resistance. So a move back above 52, you're out of the bear talk. You can kind of come up towards that 53.50 and get out of the bearish pattern. But if it keeps holding this downward trend and you start going towards that 46.50, it's going to be looking at least on this trend line and on the daily outlook like it wants to come right back down. You could also view this if you wanted as a bullish sense, but the only way to do that is if you're looking at this kind of like an inverse head and shoulders, and this is the right shoulder and that wick was just an extreme moment. It would need to hold right here really close and start making its way back towards 53.50. All right, Home Depot being mentioned in the chat. Home Depot up or down with PCE data? Well, I mean, one thing to note about Home Depot is when I looked at basic materials, I saw what was the leading industry. It was lumber and wood production. And so this is starting to come back into play, this WFG. Keep your eyes on this one and keep your eyes on how Home Depot likes to trade when lumber gets hot. That's the only thing I can give you that some insight there. And Kevin, so look into that. Look at the relationships with lumber, Home Depot, and Lowe's, and see if those can play into kind of giving it that drive. Of course, one thing though to keep in mind, there's a lot of housing recession talk. And if there's going to be a housing recession, be careful because that would go and start hitting Home Depot and Lowe's. We'll see what happened there. All right, PayPal being brought up here in the chat. Let's take a look at PayPal. Did it cut the dip there too? it's catching the dip a little bit. Was looking for this to kind of fill into this gap zone here. Still hasn't pulled back enough for me to kind of think that, okay, it's a buyback opportunity, but it needs to kind of start holding up back towards this pattern here. It did recover around the 95 support here. So a cut down through 94 again probably gets us into the shadow zone back down towards 90. But if we can hold above here and start making our way back towards 100, maybe you can go back towards the 104s. It's going to need it to keep pushing. Now, one thing to note is there are some kind of stocks that are reporting today that could give this one a little lift. Affirm is reporting today. Let's see what happens with good old Affirm. Does it get pushed up? Does it get pulled down? And then take a look at PayPal tomorrow to see what happens there. Do we start pushing towards the 100? We'll take a look. Shop being brought up in the chat. Shop is on that pullback. Now the question is, are you dip buying here around the 35, the 34 handle, or are you waiting back down all the way to 30? I would wait to 30 if you're trying to take a shot, but who knows? I mean, maybe it just starts getting its way back up there. It's just one of those that I feel like could go sideways for a little while here. And if it's just going to go sideways, it's not something that I want to be a part of. But to each his own. It doesn't look bad, has some support. You know you're out at least, which is right underneath it towards those 30s. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what happens. I own Zim. Tomorrow is the ex-dividend date for a 475 dividend. Good to mention there, Khalib. That would be one that would maybe keep me in Zim, right? Even if it does start dropping a little bit tomorrow, it wouldn't be a bad one to kind of be in if you're going to get a good dividend. All right, let's keep going. Let's take a look at some other stocks. I'm going to try to keep pushing, trying to do my best. Hey, one thing is you always get the transparent me, Eric, whether I feel like I'm right on it, I feel like I'm off of it. This is definitely one of those days where I feel like I'm off of it. And I'm kind of glad I just finished the day green, didn't keep pushing, didn't say, oh, no, but this semiconductor should be down. Let me just go shorting. No, I've learned my lesson in those moments also. And so when you don't understand something, you don't and try to revenge trade against it. That's a very simple way of just losing money for no reason, just kind of battling your own thoughts. So sometimes I'll tell myself, if I have these thoughts, I had this bias, maybe I am biased down to the downside. So on a day like today, it's hands off type of day. Hands off, because if I don't understand the price action, I don't understand what's going on. I don't want to be going into things where I'm just going to end up scratching my head. All right, let's keep going. We'll see what happens out there. Dividends never, ever a focus. Hey, well, some people do like to does it. Does the overall price dip equal up the same amount as the dividend? Could be something to think about. All right, let's keep going. PSNY, I got you. I'll try to do a really quick analysis on that. That's Polestar. What I'll do is, I've talked about this before. Just draw a trend line, wait for the trend line to break. This is on a downtrend. It needs to break the weekly trend line. It needs to just get back on up, let's say towards $10, $10.50. Until it does that, I'm not trading it to the upside. It looks like it's trying to get pulled down. All right, we'll just keep going here. We got about 2 or 3 minutes left till we get to Cannabis Insiders. So do me the favor, keep it going, guys, but throw up some likes if you guys enjoyed the speed that I'm trying to keep up here at the close today. Jim mentioned Walmart earlier today. That's one of those charts that just freaking, it just doesn't, it's hard to even call it. I know a lot of technical analysis. It's just hard to call. It's been up, down through many gaps. It's trying to get back to the 200. You saw we got above the 200 for a little bit. It was trying to hold, and then it cracked right back down. Let's see if we can get back towards that 140. 140 is the level that I'll call out. Now, one thing that I will say is that you saw DG, right? DG didn't have the best earnings. Let's take a look how it traded today. You can see how it came down here. And then through the open, it started coming back. Now you're starting to get that lift here. That's something that I keep on watch. If Target could come back, that would be my idea for Walmart taking that next leg up. If Target could really start pushing back here, going towards the 180s, look for that Walmart to probably get back towards the 140. All right. Snow is one that we'll keep on watch. What else is being mentioned in the chat? When the market is down, the dividend stocks hold up better. Good mention, Khalib. You're killing it. Let's go. All right. Let's take a look out there. What else kind of getting some lift today? I do see like Costco, but I mean, I just think Costco is always a beast. But let's take a look at what else kind of gotten some lift here. Consumer cyclical getting some lift in specialty retail. Let's take a look at some of these names that were up today. Look at Volta getting a little bit of a push on up. There's not much here. I do see the Chinese stocks that were there. We talked about why they were moving, but there's not much here that kind of stands out. Carvana catching a little bit of a bounce. Not the worst stock, but it is catching a little bit of a bounce there. Looks like reopening trade wasn't the worst today. Let's take a look at like cruise lines. CCL getting a little bit of a bounce here. That's kind of bottoming around here. This is one that maybe could be one that you're looking at. Airbnb is one that I've been waiting for it to really kind of make a move back. It's been trying. It's been trying to get back up there towards the 123. I have this drawn out for so long. I've been trying to get it back into that area. And so we'll see if it finally ever gets back there. And look, I created this circle back on June 12th. June 12th, guys. That's where I created that circle. I was like, whenever Airbnb gets back into this price area, I'll be watching for it to kind of make the next leg on up. We'll see if it can get on up there. And that's around the 123.20 area. It is pushing up today, though. Not a bad-looking stock there. Snow continuing the push here towards the close. We'll see how Snow continues to push. One of the ones that I was watching with Snow today was Unity. That one was one that if you guys watched live trading, you guys heard me talk about one thing. I said, look at Snow as being the leader. Look at Unity as being the one in the middle and the one that would lag, which would be Roblox. Look at Roblox now catching up to the tape there with these names. Snow also leading the party. Unity caught up to the party and then started getting a lift. And then Roblox coming on in here and catching up late to the party here. I love Snow. Well, we'll see if it can continue making moves. It's been pretty good lately. All right, that's going to be 4 o'clock, guys. I got to get on out of here, and definitely let's take a quick look at the SPY before we get out. Look at that run into the close. There probably had to have been some big imbalances there. Let me take a quick look here as we definitely sparked a rally there. Got up there to the 419s, out of the range. Remember, I talked about this today. Would we get out of the range? Now we're into kind of the gap zone, 421 resistance above it. 2.1 billion to the upside on market imbalances. And there you have it, guys. That's going to do it for me today. I hope that you guys enjoyed today's action. Up next, you guys got some cannabis insiders. Go ask them. Find out why were CGC and Tilray moving today. And also, there was a new stock that I put out today that was interesting. A leverage MSOS, which was MSOX. Ask them about that one. Ask them about that one. I hate when I say ax. Ask them about that one. MSOX and the new leverage way to play some U.S. cannabis. I'll get you guys over to Cannabis Insiders, and definitely do me the favor. Hit the like and the subscribe bell if this is your first time checking out at the close. And we'll see you next time right here. Hit the like before you get on out of here. Appreciate you guys. We'll see what happens tomorrow if we're able to get the money drop or not and bust open the piggy banks. Get that money. We'll see what happens. I'll see you next time, guys.